So over here in this case, there's an article about Dahmer. It says Dahmer tells doctors about lobotomies. Then down here is a Dahmer mask. And the silverware right here, yep, you guessed it, came from Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. There's a fork. There is a spoon there as well. And the photos, you might notice those photos. The one photo looks like a crime scene photo of a sink from his apartment. And then the other is the rubble of where he was living after they tore it all down. And then, let's see. Oh, this is the last tax return over here. Jeffrey Dahmer. Looks like a family photo right there. And then this was a book that came out of his apartment. Atlas of Human Anatomy for the Artist. Look at that. So there you can see, it's almost like a place setting. You can see the spoon next to the mask and then the fork. There is actually a butter knife over there as well. But then there's a time card for his job at the candy factory. And then up here is an SS flag. So here's some of John Wayne Gacy's paintings. Patches the Clown. That was a lot of that stuff he did from jail and would actually mail you out a price list, and he would tell you what the prices were for whatever kind of art he was doing, and people would buy it. So down here, the handprints and the signature of the Happy Face Killer. Then here is, this one's kind of crazy. That's a portrait of John F. Kennedy by John Wayne Gacy. And he also liked to paint birds, so that bird painting was his. And then Robert Bardo, the man who killed Rebecca Schaefer at her home, that is a drawing that he did, and it says at the bottom, "In Memoriam, Rebecca Lucille Schaefer." That is his artwork. As well as that one, the Boris Karloff as the mummy. But then look at this. This is kind of crazy. Charles Manson's prison identification for Corcoran State Prison. Gee, look at that face. So when I was told what we're looking at now, I was extremely shocked. And obviously this video is about serial killers. And this guy is not technically a serial killer because he was found innocent. But what we do have is, well, I'll let the person that owns it explain what it is.
So Jordan, this is stuff from a recent auction held by Golden Auctions, and they decided to auction off some of OJ's estate. And these are actual photos that were in OJ's home at some point. These were hanging. These are part of his memorabilia of him. And there's quite some old photos here, with some family members. It looks like one you have with his mother, and that one.
Yeah.
OJ back in the day there. And I was really surprised Golden put these up because they had that show on Netflix, which is really, really, really good. The King of Collectibles.
Yeah, I love that show.
Phenomenal show. I really enjoyed the series. And I believe one of the authenticators came on, John Resnick, and said, we don't deal with those type of topics with Dahmer or serial killers or whatever it might be. And yet they put the OJ stuff up. And, OJ's obviously very controversial. And these items were put up. So I thought these items were interesting. And
this one,
yeah.
particularly fascinating because what it is it says South Toluca Lake Championship Table Tennis Team. Yeah. And it says Jennings Lang, Walter Matthau, so that's who's in the glasses and hat right there, O.J. Simpson, and Richard Zanuck.
Yeah.
There's Walter Matthau hanging in O.J.'s house.
Yeah, so that is something else with these things. But these are just part of OJ's life. And, you know, Jordan, if you
San Francisco Boys Club. Wow.
And Jordan, I was curious, and again, I haven't really looked through this. This is my first time. These were boxed up. I wanted just to show these for your vlog here, but I wanted to know who number 32 is over here. We were curious who number 32 is in that thing. I don't know if that's Al Cowlings or if that's someone else. You can see OJ is on the right, but who's number 32 in that picture? I'm just curious if anyone knows in your comments.
Well, my first thought was it might be Al Cowlings, and looking at a photo of Al Cowlings and looking at that photo, I think that might be who it is. Football fans, if you know, let us know. It kind of looks like it might be Al Cowlings to me. It would make sense, wouldn't it? And over here is a practice used O.J. Simpson jersey from his playing days. You can tell because of all the mesh netting. Those were always practice jerseys, and it's signed right there. So what do we have here?
So Jordan, this is an interesting thing. It's a yearbook from 1965 era. And this is the interesting thing was, I'm going to pull up whose yearbook. This was a classmate of Theodore Bundy's, and he wrote on here to his friend George, "Be what you'll be," and kind of an awkward foreshadowing of what was to come for his life. But basically, it's a yearbook that Ted signed for his gentleman George.
Yeah.
It was literally lost in time for years.
Was he? I mean, I don't know that much about him. He's not one I've read much about. Was he in any clubs? Are there photos of him from clubs or that he participated in during these years? Or
I didn't really do the whole research with the book yet, but I'll tell you what, the interesting stuff is always where his pictures are. He's obviously at the top, yeah. And again, there's a ladies' man back in the day, and then if you go to this page over here, you'll see him hanging out over here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they're in political science. Just wait till he turns his back, then throw it. That's what he says. So
pictured with Dan Burnell. I wonder how many times Dan Burnell's shown people this yearbook.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's interesting that he signed the front of it, but didn't sign his photo as well. Like some people signed both, but
correct.
He only did that one. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
You have some other Ted Bundy stuff, don't you?
Yes, we do. So Jordan, this is an incredible piece. This piece was actually featured on CNN. It made national news. This was about a gentleman named Jack Epstein. Theodore Kaczynski really idolized this gentleman, Jack Epstein. He was the author of Along the Gringo Trail. He actually put that into the actual heading of the envelope to show how much obsession he had. But really, Ted Kaczynski wanted to live a private life, a solitary life. He didn't believe in the entire industrialization, the computer age, all those things that were going on. So the interesting thing about this type letter that he wrote to Mr. Epstein is basically that it was written from the same typewriter that he wrote the actual bombing letters on.
There's wow. And he signed
it, yeah. So that is just a really cool piece of history from 1979.
And then you also have a handwritten letter here.
Correct. And he got some correspondence back from him and then thanked him later on by hand. And it's amazing to see some of this.
It says, thank you for your helpful and courteous reply to my recent inquiry. The reason this thank you has been delayed as long as that I was off in the hills for considerable time, out of touch with everything, as a result of which I got your letter only a couple of days ago. Sincerely, T.J. Kaczynski.
Correct.
August 27th, 1979.
And he really believed in that solitary, that non-industrialized life.
Henry David Thoreau, transcendental life almost.
Yeah. And he shunned modern society, and he shunned people, and he really took it to heart, and that's what caused this rage that he had inside of him, and all the bombings that he did. So these are two amazing Unabomber letters.
I've actually seen that typewriter. That typewriter, I believe, is at the Alcatraz East Museum in Pigeon Forge. So I believe I've seen that.
Yeah,
if it's not there, it was at the Crime Museum. But yeah, it is out there. You can see it somewhere.
It's amazing to see some of this stuff years later. And this was just held in someone's home for a while, undiscovered, and it hit. You can actually look it up on CNN.com.
So this is a pretty long letter. It's actually an 8-page letter from Ted Bundy, and we were reading through it, and what's fascinating about it is one of the legends kind of attached to Ted Bundy is that once he, started defending himself and people saw it, all these women fell in love with him. And this looks like this is an admirer who's written to him in prison, and he's writing back to her, and he's kind of flirting with her and really going into detail about everything that she wrote. So it says, "Dear Carol, I just got finished rereading your letter and the lovely cards you've sent. My, what a special person you are. I feel or thought as though I know you on a sort of personal part of you, or at least a part of you at least. I am very fortunate that you have cared enough to reach out. I received your letter August 13th and cards with notes dated August 15th, September 2nd, and September 23rd. Along with the cards, I received a book of stamps, 9 loose stamps, and your envelopes. Thank you so much. What you wrote, I enjoyed, and the stamps and envelopes are needed. Again, I must apologize for taking so long to write. Your letter and cards were most welcome and deserved an answer long ago. About the time I wrote to you, my wife and daughter had to leave Florida so my wife Carol could care for her mother, who was recovering from injuries suffered in a car accident. Why are you far away in Seattle? For a variety of reasons, the primary one being financial. Carol and my daughter Rose will arguably not be able to return to Florida even if her mom does fully recover. I couldn't have agreed more with Carol's decision to go. She sent with my blessing. Even so, I miss her very much. So you can see, like, he's actually talking personal, because then it says, I want to respond to a number of things that you've written. Your compassion is an extraordinary gift, such a blessing. You said you were active with kids with something disabilities. I have a related interest. It has to do with home education. I am concerned about what kids are exposed to in schools. I read a lot by John Holt, a leading advocate of non-traditional environmentalists for educating kids. Working on my psychology degree, I worked with severely disturbed children who were autistic, brain damage, etc. So this goes on for a while. Down here, he thanks her for all the cards and everything again. And then he says, so you do a lot of camping. That's terrific. There's something else we have in common. Well, I don't do much camping now, but I like to read about the outdoors. So, I mean, I guess if you wrote him, and at that time, he was giving very personal responses back, at least to this woman he did. 8-page letter. Wow. Handwritten letter. And there at the very end, it's signed Ted.
So Jordan, in the Northeast, particularly on the Boston area, Whitey Bulger is still talked about. His whole story. They made a movie of him called Black Mass.
Dude, they made a lot of movies. Yeah, The Departed.
Johnny Depp played him very well in the Black Mass movie. That did very well. That was an interesting movie. So Whitey was into Native American art and culture when he was imprisoned. And I have some of the original pieces that him and the inmates did. And you could see them. That's one there. That's another piece here. And you could see Whitey actually holding the art with the other inmate.
Yeah, so, that is definitely him with the hat on.
Yeah, and that's him, and that's a cool piece. So that one will match.
He evaded the law for like decades, yeah. 30, 40 years.
I'm going to tell you an interesting story. So his wife, Catherine Gregg, she was, and I might pronounce that wrong, sorry, but she was a dental hygienist. And so I believe that they were trying to you have to renew your license every couple years or so. And so they were trying to see if she was going to renew her license. So they were probably trying to get to see, well.
But that's not how they found her. You remember how they found her?
Yeah, they found
her breast implants.
Correct.
Isn't that crazy that he got busted from her breast implants?
Yeah. So she's still alive, I believe. I think she's still incarcerated, if I'm not mistaken. But that's really an interesting story. They tracked him down, I think, in Santa Monica on the pier.
Yeah.
In an apartment, and that's how they caught him. And then, as we know, he was,
he had a very bad ending. Let's just say that, because we can't even really talk about it. But you have some of his personal items also, don't you?
I do. So besides the artwork here, so you have couple of paintings here. So what I want to show you was, this is a rare artifact. This is an actual piece that Whitey did when he was in prison. And what he did was, I'm going to pull the book out. So it's just basically in this.
Can you hold it up for us?
Sure,
here?
Absolutely. So we'll put that up. So just a typical, probably prison book that you would have with the Mead book. So what he did was he was working on a piece of Native American art. You see, I'm not going to go through everything. So, by the way, amazing handwriting. I'm so envious of this handwriting. It's incredible. I believe he went to Catholic school, so he had to have some of the handwriting from the Catholic school, but or top of this. But the handwriting was amazing. So again, I'm not going to flip through the entire script. If there's somebody who wants to see it and read it, we could go put it in the comment section. But it was about, I don't know, so many pages long here, probably 12, 13 pages long. And he wrote this in June 26th of 2014. And he said, and basically down here, he signed his name, Gene Whitey Bulger, with his number, and I am not the forgotten over here. But what's interesting here is when you come to the back, and this is where I want to do a little more research. So he'll sign this, and you could see the MK Ultra is what fascinates a lot of people. That's a really interesting topic right now. So maybe you could shed a little light. I know you know a little bit about that with the CIA experiments.
I don't know enough about that one to talk about it.
So I don't know enough either, but I do know the speculation is that the CIA was doing some type of mind control.
And they were tricking people kind of into doing or ordering them to do things.
So it looks to me like in this.
That's what they believed. I think Lee Harvey Oswald is what they tried to
correct.
People have thought.
Correct, and even Sirhan, the one who assassinated Robert Kennedy, and debate about that. But what's interesting here, it's almost like, and he put that on the back of the book. It wasn't on just another page here, so you can see all these empty pages, and it's almost like he's sending a message that he was part of that MK Ultra group, or that whatever that experimentation was, and apparently there's a rumor also that Manson was as well, Charles Manson. So and as another interesting thing is, what may not be known, is Whitey did time at Alcatraz as well. So he was at the original Alcatraz in San Francisco. So long story short, this needs to be researched a little bit more. But I would love to see any comments on this, Jordan. Maybe you can zoom in on this and have your viewers.
Yeah, I put it in there.
Yeah, very, very neat.
That's what he looked like at the end. Here's his, I would assume, his jail cell. This looks like it would have been the court drawing from Whitey Bulger's case. And then down here, the mugshots. Wow, this has been an incredible adventure exploring all of these new artifacts. These are all things that I've never seen before. I know a lot of people are interested in serial killer belongings and things like that, the true crime stuff. So it was fascinating. I hope you guys had your thirsts quenched for that today. Thank Doc Marty for allowing me to share all this stuff, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night, and goodbye.